All righty, here we go. All right, well, welcome to the Wilderness Trip parent meeting. I'm going to just open us up in prayer, and then I'll kind of walk through what our goals are. My goal is to be done by no later than 7:40, and then have questions if you have after that, but maybe we'll be done before then. So let's just pray, and then we'll just get started. God, we thank you for this opportunity to be together and just talk about the wilderness trip, Lord, as people who love our students and want to see them grow in you and with you and in community, God. Lord, I pray this would be a productive time that we can learn a little bit about the trip ahead and learn a little bit more about what we need to start thinking about and praying about. Lord, we love you, and I pray. Amen. Okay, so yes, this picture throughout the whole slideshow, I've pictured different pictures of where we're going to be going. This is the Wind River Range. This specific place is called the Titcomb Basin. I don't. We're not necessarily hiking right through this area, but we're hiking near this area. It's a beautiful area that we're going right outside of Teton National Park. So really excited about here. This is kind of our agenda. Welcome. I hope you feel welcome. We're going to talk about what we're doing, where we're doing it, and why we're doing it. We'll go quickly through the schedule, and then we'll talk about some safety things. I'll tell you about our leaders and the groupings that we have this year, and then answer any questions that may come up. Again, if you have to jump off early and you have a question that's just like burning, feel free to just jump in and start talking, and I will answer that. If you have a question that I don't get to, feel free to text me, email me, call me, whatever. Okay, so what we're doing, that's the what, where, why. What we're doing is we're backpacking. If you've never been backpacking before, this is essentially what it is we're going to take everything we need. We're going to put it in a big old backpack, and we're going to hike together in groups of about 9 people. So 2 leaders and 6 students. That's eight people. And we're going to backpack together. So one day we'll get everything on and we'll put it on our backs, and we'll walk out into the wilderness, and we'll be there for 5 days, traversing anywhere between 30 and 35 miles. Doing some serious elevation. This is some pretty high up and downs this year. So nothing super high, like the elevation's not super high, nothing over 12,000 feet, but a lot of up and down. It's got a lot of, like, well, you can see here in the picture in the background here. Um, and where we're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing it just outside the Teton National Park. It's about an hour and a half this side of the Teton National Park, outside of a city called Pinedale, Wyoming, in the Wind River Range, which is a couple of different wilderness areas kind of pushed together. If you're familiar with the like Yellowstone Basin, which is what this is a part of. There's the Tetons go here, Yellowstone is up here, and then there's like a K that comes out of mountain ranges that comes out of the Teton Range. We're kind of in the lower leg of the K, and we'll be down there for the whole time, except for the one day where we go up and see the Tetons, which is my favorite place in all of the United States. Really excited to go back there again. But the why we're doing it, and this is kind of like the like thing, this quote that you see on your screen. This is the why, the reason we get out and we do something really hard in terms of physical things. Because, and I'll just read this to you guys, is exposure to the harsh realities and fierce beauties of a world not aimed at my comfort has a way of cutting through the self-absorption of my life. The uncontrolled mystery of nature puts the ego in check and invites the soul back, in more ways than one, to the ground of its being. It reminds me, in short, that spiritual practice, far from being anything ethereal, is a highly tactile, embodied, and visceral affair. When we think about what our students live in every single day of their lives, they live in this very disembodied world, right? We think about like what we're doing right now. That's like oh, their like students' normal experience is this. their practices, even a lot of spiritual practice these days, have become very disembodied. And so the beautiful thing about the wilderness trip, the thing that like gets my heart pumping and me very excited to do this, is it strips all that away. There's nothing left but like the walking and the talking and the reality of seeing like that there are places in this world that God created for us to enjoy, but have nothing to do with us being comfortable. And so our students will be uncomfortable. They'll sweat. They'll probably cry. They'll have lots of difficult things to do, and obviously we'll keep them safe and we'll take care of them. But it's every time we go on these trips, every time I experience this sort of thing with our students, I see God just stripping away the layers of that we build in our modern society down to this grounded place where we can really experience the Holy Spirit and the Creator in a real visceral way. So this is one of my favorite quotes. If you want to read this Backpacking with the Saints, it's this guy's kind of like personal like thoughts about while he's backpacking. It's a really great read. This is Pinedale. Those are the Wind River Ranges right behind it. And then there's some antelope in the front in case you care. Just wanted to show you another picture of where we're going. All right, some important dates for you to know. Student training, and I know some of you have already told me you can't make it. You're on vacation or whatever. That's totally fine. It's a really important time, especially for students who haven't actually done this sort of thing before. What we'll be doing is we'll basically be going through what students need to know day-to-day basis. How to set up a tent, how to make sure their food is stowed properly at night, how to make sure that their feet are well taken care of. Kind of all of these things that like if you've never really been backpacking, you haven't thought about before. And we teach our students to do it because it's important for our students to take agency and ownership of what they're doing and not have an adult just kind of parenting them all the time. So it's really an important time. It usually lasts from like 6 to 7:30, and they'll get a lot of information. If your student's been on a trip before, it's really helpful for them to show up because they can kind of pass their knowledge on to other students. But if your student can't make it, let me know, and if we'll set up a separate time for me to sit with them and just kind of go through some of that stuff. The other important date for you to know is July 15th. This is gear check night. We do this every year, and it's really important for three reasons. Reason number one, and the reason the students are going to care the most about, is they find out who their group is that night. If they're not there, then they get to find out from other people. And then if they don't like it, well, oh well. Number two, we get to see how kind of like before we even get on the trail, before we even leave on the trip, we get to kind of see how the group dynamics are working out right from the get-go. And I'm always observing and making sure like, oh, are these two people really going to help each other grow in God, or are they just going to be distracting? And then maybe we make some last minute moves. But then probably the most important thing, it is the most important thing, is we look through everybody's gear. Part of this trip, besides being really formational, teaching a lot of important life skills, it also it's important for students to like take ownership of their things, which I have kids and that is a difficult thing for them to do. But we have to also make sure they have the right things so that when they get out on the trail, they're not, wearing the wrong socks and getting blisters. So we're going to look through everybody's clothing, make sure their backpacks fit right, everything that they need so that they have a successful trip. Again, if you can't make this night, it's really a bummer. I need to know pretty soon, though, because it does play into how we kind of like put people together. If you've already told me, I've got that down. You don't have to remind me, but the rest of you, if you can't make that night, please let me know. And then something new this year, because where we're going just does not have reservable campgrounds. It has what's called dispersed camping. You just kind of roll up onto a site and say, this is mine. To that end, that means that we don't know exactly the campsite we're sleeping in. So we're sending a forward team. We're sending my wife, Jake Down, a couple of my kids, and they're hauling our trailer out for us, which is very kind because the trailer is horrible to haul all the way across the country. But they're going to take all of our stuff, including your students' duffel bags, which we'll get to what that contains in just a minute. If you want to, if your kids have enough clothes and have everything they need, you're welcome to leave that with me on July 15th. But if you need to not do that, I need them back on July 21st. Anytime during the day, you can drop it off at church and we'll load it up. And then your student will see it when they get to Montana. Nope, Wyoming. We're going to Wyoming. And on Friday evening. So it's just like checking your bag on an airplane. You're going to pack everything that you need for the whole trip into that bag, and then you're going to have a carry-on bag, a backpack or whatever that you can keep in the van. That you'll have, your like a change of clothes, toiletries, whatever that you need to get yourself or get your student from Eastbrook. One night in a hotel because we were staying in a hotel on the way out this year. That's a new fun thing, and then getting all the way out there. So bag check needs to happen on July 21st. If for some reason you're like, I can't do that, let me know and we will figure out an alternative plan. All right, moving on quickly here. Important dates. We're now going to move into the schedule. This is a high level schedule. It's tentative just because we're still 2 months out from the trip. Things have to be fluid until we're actually moving on the trip. But this is our goal. We will be leaving on Thursday, July 23rd at 5 p.m. That means the vans are leaving at 5 p.m. because we have to drive to Des Moines that evening, which is not far, but it's not short. And we have to then get a nice full night of rest. So please, if you can be at the church no later than 4:45. Thankfully, all you'll have to do for your student is give them a hug if they'll let you, and say goodbye, and they'll get on a van, get in a van, and we'll go because all of the gear stuff will already be almost all the way to Wyoming at that point. And then that night we will sleep in a hotel in Des Moines and get up nice and early that next day and have a nice long drive to Wyoming. And we're going to drive all the way into base camp where our forward team will have set up everybody's stuff. Well, not their stuff, but they'll have like tents set up and a place for everybody to sleep when they roll in that night. We'll sleep in tents that night and be in tents all the way until our last night on our way home. We will stay in a hotel in Omaha. So, yeah, that's what it'll be. And then the next day on Saturday, the 25th, we'll do trail prep. We'll just make sure everybody's stuff is ready to go. We'll do an acclimation hike, just kind of get used to being at altitude because we will be at altitude. Milwaukee's at about 720 feet, depending on where you are in the city. Pinedale is well over 720 feet. I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I think it's like 6,000 or 7,000. It's pretty high. And then even as you go into the mountains, obviously it'll be higher. So we're going to spend that day just getting ourselves ready. Expect your students. Altitude sickness hits everybody differently. It doesn't matter. You can have done this a million times like myself and still show up and get altitude sickness. Or some years I just don't ever get it. It just happens. And so we just take our time getting used to the altitude. A couple of nights sleeping at altitude is usually enough to cure everybody. And we're by day 3, the 26th, which is a Sunday. Usually everybody's ready to get on trail. Then we'll get into our groups. We'll go to our different trailheads and we'll be out on trail until the 30th. And we'll backpack. And kind of a flavor of each day. Every leader does it a little differently. This is what I do. We wake up in the morning. The sun wakes us up. It's the beautiful thing about waking up in the wilderness is you don't need an alarm clock. And then we get up. We have breakfast. We clean up ourselves. We have like a morning prayer, and then we hike for 3 or 4 hours till lunchtime. Obviously, taking enough breaks and hydrating and snacking as we go. At lunchtime, we usually take a nice little extended lunch, half hour, 45 minutes, just relaxing, taking our shoes off and just kind of letting our feet breathe. And then we get, hike for another 3 or 4 hours till we find a good campsite. Usually each day we hike between 6 and 9 miles, depending on terrain and how far we need to get to kind of like complete our trail. And by the end of the day, we're pretty tired, we're pretty hungry. We set up camp for the night. We have some food. And then we have devos and debrief the day and spend some time just talking to each other. And then usually go to bed when it's dark because it gets real dark in the mountains. And then we just rinse and repeat until the last day on the 30th. We'll get off trail. We usually get off trail between 2 and 4, just kind of depending on how things are going. The base camp will have everything like ready for us to come back. They usually are very nice and cook us a big dinner because we're starving, and really exciting to be. Everybody gets to come back together. And that's a fun night. That's kind of the night where we get to like share our experiences and revel in what God's done. We worship. We sit around the fire. It's just a really, really fun night. And that night we're usually up late and, just kind of enjoying being back together as a big family. And then the next day we'll get up. It's about an hour drive to Teton National Park. If you're a national park nerd and you have like the national park passports like I do, make sure you bring those so you could do the stamp or whatever. And we'll spend the day at Tetons. We might do a little hike. We might do some swimming in Jenny Lake, just enjoying that area. And then we'll come back to our base camp that night and sleep that night in Pinedale. And then the next morning, we will wake up bright and early, pack everything into our trailer, and drive to Omaha. We'll stay at a nice hotel there, and we'll get showers because we'll all smell after, was that 8-9 days of no showering. And then we'll bring them back to you, and they'll smell slightly less smelly on the second there. Our goal is to be back between 4 and 6. Traffic doesn't, give us the ability to be completely precise with that. And then that's the trip. That's the schedule. That's kind of like the quick and dirty of what it looks like. This is another beautiful place that we're going to see. Just take it in and be jealous for a moment. All right. Just going to quick go through the gear. You've got this gear list in your email. I've sent it to you a couple times. I'm not going to go through every single thing, but I am going to hit up a couple of highlights because I think they're very important. They can often be overlooked. The things that are like that I really on this one that I really want to hit up is the 4 complete changes of clothing are separate than your trail clothes. Those are what you're going to wear in the van. That's what you're going to wear to the Tetons. Those are 4 extra sets of clothing. They can be whatever. They can, like, as long as they're comfortable and your kid is okay wearing them, like, and you're okay with your kid wearing them. I don't really care what those are. They could be like the heaviest jeans and sweatshirt in the world. I don't really care. The rest of this thing really does need to adhere to kind of as strictly to the list as you can, and think everything that's going to go on trail, go in their backpack, needs to be something that can dry quickly. So we think athletic shorts, athletic shirts, athletic underwear, wool socks, that kind of stuff. Because if it rains, they're going to get wet. And if they're wearing cotton or anything that's like cotton derivative, that doesn't dry. It tends to get really stinky really fast. And you don't want that, trust me. And then the other thing that's really important on this list that I really want to highlight is some sort of waterproof jacket or poncho. You don't need to go out and buy a $500 waterproof coat unless you have the money and you want to do that. You can go on Amazon, you can get a Frog Tog, which is going to keep you very dry for like less than $20. Or even if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can go to Walmart and buy a couple of plastic ponchos and put that over and send that along with your student. But we definitely need something. It rains nearly every afternoon, something to keep them dry. The other thing on this list, and then we'll move on, is a brimmed hat. It could be a hat like this, like like a build hat, but a hat is important. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, the sun, to keep the sun off of your face and neck. But reason number 2, if you do a little research into the Wind River Range, you're going to learn really quickly that there are a lot of bugs. And to that end, we have bought everybody a head net this year to help them not have to worry about bugs attacking their head. But you need a kind of a hat to like be able to, unless you want it stuck to your face, you kind of need a hat to kind of keep it off your face. You can tell your students that or not. I don't really care, but everybody's going to get a head net so that their faces can be protected from mosquitoes and black flies. We're not going to let the bugs bother us. We're going to embrace them as part of the experience and enjoy the beautiful creation that God's given us. Personal care items. This is really you're going on an airplane, you got 3 ounces. That's really what you got here. The things that you're going to definitely need to make sure you bring on the trail: toothbrush, toothpaste, and hand sanitizer. Bug spray, if you're that kind of person. I don't do bug spray. I don't like the way it makes my skin feel. Sunscreen is going to be really important. If you are a lady and you don't want to have to use toilet paper every time you use the restroom, invest in a Kula cloth. They're really great. If you don't know what they are, look them up. Um, Usually, I have my wife here, that she's not here today, to explain period supplies. If you are the parent of a young lady or a young lady yourself and going to be on the trip, make sure you bring them. More often than not, you get a period on the trip. I don't know why. It just happens every year. And then lip balm, think lip balm or chapstick that has UPF in it to protect your lips, because there is nothing worse than sunburnt lips. All right. Gear. Okay, if you are borrowing a lot of this gear from us, then we've got you covered. But I definitely know that you're not borrowing sleeping pads from us, because we do not offer those. You definitely have to have a sleeping pad. If your student just gets in a sleeping bag and lays on the ground in the tent, they will be freezing cold, because the rock will suck the temperature out of them. But also, if it's raining, and there's maybe a lightning strike nearby, a sleeping pad can actually insulate them from a lightning strike. I know that sounds like really crazy to think about, but it is important. So they must have a sleeping pad. If you have questions about the right kind, what it looks like, whatever, please reach out and ask, because I can give you all sorts of examples. Or if you click on the Amazon wish list that was included in your gear list, it'll take you and show you a couple options. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can, if you have the money to spend $500 again on a sleeping pad, you're welcome to, but you don't have to spend that. And then the other important thing is two 32-ounce water bottles. One of the things that the students will be really annoyed with me is going to be, they're going to hear me tell them to drink water constantly, water and electrolytes. If they come to me and say their head hurts, I'm going to be like, how much water did you drink? If they come to me and say their stomach hurts, I'm going to say, how much water did you drink? If they come to me and say, I feel lightheaded, I'm going to ask them, how much water did they have to drink? Water is going to be really important, along with electrolytes. And we need each student to be able to carry 64 ounces of water at all times. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. Here's some optional stuff. Backpacking pillow. I always bring one. I'm 40. I need a pillow. Some kids just bundle up their coat and sleep on it. I did that in the past. I can't do that anymore. A little inflatable pillow makes life so much better. A reasonable knife. Someone asked me what a reasonable knife is. And if you have to ask the question, is this a reasonable knife? It's not a reasonable knife. My knife is like 3 inches. I don't know. Just, they're allowed to bring a knife. It's probably good that they do, but they probably don't need to bring a giant knife. A camp chair is nice. We can bring those when you check in your stuff on that Tuesday. That's just good, not necessarily for the backpacking part, but for the hanging out at the base camp part. If not, they're going to be standing, and that's never fun. Trekking poles. If your kid has weak ankles, weak knees, just generally doesn't hike very often, trekking poles are awesome. They turn you from a bipedal animal to a quadruped, which means 4 points of contact on the ground. It can distribute your weight. It distributes your ability to navigate things. You can buy really cheap trekking poles. Cascade Mountain is a brand that I use. I think I paid $30 for them, and I've used them for almost 5 years. No, I've used them almost for a decade. Yeah, I've used them for a long time. You don't have to spend, again, you can spend $500, but you don't have to. Things that I don't want your students to bring: electronics. They are welcome to bring their phone for the drive, but we are not going to spend a lot of time on the phones. In fact, we will ask them to put their phones completely away once we arrive at base camp, or put them in airplane mode. There's not service here. I don't love, if kids are pulling their phones out to watch movies, to like whatever, we're going to take their phones away. This is a non-connected trip. The only reason we say yes to phones is so that students can get a hold of you in case of some sort of weird emergency, or to let you know when we're coming home. Please don't let your kids bring firearms or fireworks or drugs or tobacco or alcohol or unreasonable or excessive knives. One year I had a kid bring like 12 knives. That's excessive. One is fine, two is okay. More than that, we don't need that. Um, Anything that you or your student values, because they could get wet, lost, stolen. One year we had a kid bring a laptop. I don't know why. He left it in the van. The van didn't get locked. We went into the gas station. The laptop got stolen. That's just life. Don't let them bring that kind of stuff. They don't need it. Some safety things that you should know so that when we take safety very importantly. We're all the time paying attention to the weather, to the surrounding. Each one of our leaders are wilderness first aid certified. Each one of our leaders have had extensive training and have done this not this particular trip, but have led in this trip many times. We only have one leader who's only led one time. It's John Siska, but he's also incredibly experienced in other backpacking trips. So all of our leaders, very well trained, doing this for a long time, really know how to make wise decisions and will always err on the side of safety. Each one of our teams carries 2 Garmin InReach devices so that they can communicate with rangers or base camp. If something were to go poorly, they can hit an SOS button and have somebody summoned to their exact location. The rangers don't know yet, but will soon know that we are going to be there in our trails and our exact schedule to where we'll be in case something goes wrong. They know what's going on. We'll do student training. We not only train the students at student training, but we are all the time talking to our students about, hey, if this happens to a leader and the leader's incapacitated, here are the things that you need to do to make sure you and your group are safe. That's all the kind of stuff that we're always thinking about. What happens? We run scenarios. We spend a lot of time thinking about safety, and we remind your kids to drink water and electrolytes a lot. If something were to happen, we are actually really close, and this is not super normal. Usually we're hours away from a hospital, but there's actually a hospital right in Wyoming, called Sublette County Health Hospital. If something were to happen to your student and they needed to be taken to the hospital, this is the order of operations. Step number 1, we're going to make sure your student is safe. We're going to get them the medical care that they need. We're going to make sure their group is safe. We're going to make sure that everybody is safe. And then we will contact you, because if we put, as much as I know you would want to know, and I as a parent would understand this, but everybody's safety comes first, and then you will get notified if something were to happen to your student after everybody is safe. And thankfully, we've never had to work that tree like that, but we do have that in place to make sure that people remain safe and everybody that needs to know gets notified. Here are our leaders. My wife has been running Base Camp for the better part of a decade. Base Camp is a safe place for our students to go. Say your student turns an ankle, whatever, it can't go on, but it's not really necessarily injured beyond being needing to get out of the backcountry or whatever. Sarah can come out, her and Jake or Noah can come out to retrieve a student and bring them back to Base Camp, and they can just stay there for the remainder of the time. Base Camp also fields, if calls come in or whatever from you guys, you will have Sarah's information to be able to get a hold of her. She's a nurse and is able to do a lot of awesome stuff. Every year when everybody comes off trail, she does a foot clinic to make sure everybody's feet, blisters and stuff are taken care of. And she's great. And obviously I like her a lot. Jake is a second-year leader. He's going to be down there. He's a great guy. And Noah this is his first year being at Base Camp. He was a student a couple years back. Excited to have him along. Trail Family 1 is going to be myself and Audrey Smith leading. Trail Family 2 is Nate and Julianne. leading Trail Family 3. We have Zach Lee and Heidi Mayer, and then Mary Lisak as a junior leader this year. And then our last Trail Family 4 is Megan Couch and John Siska. I've been leading with all of these people for a lot of years, and they're great leaders. Love your students. Many of them are your students' leaders every day, or every Wednesday in their small groups, and already have great established relationships with many of your students. So I'm really excited just to see what God's going to do this year through them. And guys, that is all I have for you. What questions can I answer? Do you have anything that I missed? Just shout them out, and I will do my best to answer.
Hello, Sarah Hoffman.
Hey, Sarah.
I did this like Star Warsy background for you, Nick, by the way.
It's so great. I love it.
I wasn't here for the first 10 minutes, so sorry if this is something you already said, but just wanted verification. Like, are you seeing the Circuit of Towers? Like, what is the actual...
Great question. The actual trails. So we're going to be coming out of Pinedale. The reason I'm not being like completely clear about it is because some groups will and some groups won't. Just because the way that our trails work. Yeah. So that's the answer. Yeah.
So the 4 trail families are completely separate the whole time and just meet up at the end after 4 days.
Say that again. Sorry.
The 4 trail families don't see each other during the 4 days.
They might pass each other, because what we'll do is we only have 2 trails, and then we just reverse them. Like one group will go left and one group will go right, and then so they'll probably pass each other one time on the trail. So yeah. But other than that, no, they won't see everybody else. Sarah, you were saying something.
This is one of those, like, I can tell you more story later, but just funny story is that Circuit of Towers was my dad was a mountain climber and ultra marathoner, and Circuit of Towers was one of his 2 like muses, like things he never actually got to do. He tried 3 times, and to get in there, ended up, big long story. Like, it's actually a very interesting whole thing, but ultimately he fell crossing a river and was helicoptered out, saw it from the air, and went to that hospital you're talking about. So there you go.
Well, you know what? We're just gonna pray that everybody that can see it will see it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, it's also really great that there is like that medical, like, so close, because they're so good with for that whole thing. But anyway, I was just really curious, because as soon as I heard that that's where this trip was going, of course, that's what I thought. I was like, oh,
Absolutely.
So anyway, I just wondered that. So thank you.
Yep.
How many students in each trail family?
6. So 1 to 3 ratios, essentially. Yeah. And then that one group
with question? I couldn't hear it.
Oh, how many students in each group? Yeah, so we have 6 students in a group, and I haven't put the groups together yet, so I couldn't tell you who's in what. But 6 students to a group, and then there's the one group that has the junior leader. They'll still have 6. They'll just have 3 leaders in it.
Water filters?
Yes.
That it was like the optional water filter bottle. What if they?
Yeah, that's on there. You can bring it if you want. Each of our groups carries 2 gravity filters where we can filter a lot of water pretty quickly. It's one of those things I've kind of lived on the list that I just haven't taken off, because if some students like, oh, I have this, I want to bring it, I'm not going to tell them no. It's fine. Yeah. But it's not required, because we definitely filter all of the water.
And is it like 2 or 3 vans that drive out, like 12 passenger vans or 15?
Mm-hmm. So we have 3 15 passenger vans, and then a 6 passenger truck that's going to pull the trailer out. So yeah, we'll have hopefully plenty of room. And then I always reserve one extra van just in case and cancel it the day of if I need an extra van. I always have an extra van laying out there. So yeah.
I have a question. It's always the same question.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay. My question is always about predators. You probably know this by now, Nick. Are your leaders trained in throwing bear attacks, snake bites?
Yep.
Moose, all the usual.
Yeah. Great question. I'm shaking my head, but I realize you can't see me. So yeah, good question. Yeah, so predators in this area, moose for sure, bear for sure, snakes maybe a little bit, not a ton. I mean, if you're like digging around, you might run into something, but usually that's not an issue. And all of our leaders are definitely trained in that. Each group will carry a bear spray at both the front and the back, and all of our leaders have been trained in how to use that. And I'll be honest, I had a bear encounter in not this wilderness, but a nearby wilderness area, a while back, 2021. And so part of the thing that I learned there is, one, bears are real and they can be scary. In fact, I'm wearing a shirt right now that says, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except bears, because bears can kill you." So it's something we're very aware of, and we definitely talk about it with our students. We'll talk about it in training, and really what we want them to do is be loud and talk a lot. Because that tends to scare off the bears. They don't really want to see us.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
She wants to know if you're cooking polenta again this year. She requests no.
Just for her, actually. No one else, just her. I got a big old bag waiting.
Okay. Oh, great.
She'll be so excited.
So is the trail food like the stuff you get at REI, like packs of that stuff, or?
Yeah, good question. No, that stuff is wildly expensive. We actually put together our own type of stuff. So I've learned over the years, this is my, I don't know, 15th or 16th time doing this for Eastbrook. Learned over the years just like ways to make those, but make them on my own. So we put together, we'll do like a mac and cheese with bacon, which is always a big hit. We'll do like a curry, which is super good. I can't remember what else we've done in the past. We did polenta last year, which failed. We will never do it again, except for sage. And yeah. So we put together we get a bunch of freeze dried stuff, we throw it in a bag, and then they boil it. And that's a good question, a good thing. If your kid has any sort of like allergies or whatever, gluten, dairy, whatever, most of you, I think, put that in there, and I have that list. But if you didn't, and it's something I need to know, let me know. We can be very allergy friendly. We have taken people on these trips that have been allergic to what feels like every single thing on the face of the planet. But we can do it because we customize all of that food, yeah.
If you could sneak bacon into Sophie's food, that would be great. But I think she's going to veer away from bacon.
Yeah, she's already talked to me about it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Yeah. We do always make sure that for people, like, we don't bring a lot of meat on trail, obviously, but we do bring some meat. But we always are making sure, especially people that are vegetarian, like, we give them extra protein bars and stuff like that, so that they're not withering away out there.
Great.
Yeah.
I guess just one clarification on the electronics. So
yes,
they're allowed their phones. Are they allowed headphones for the drive time or no?
Yeah, that's fine. Really, the what I'm gonna say, what I tell the students and what we enforce is, like, if you're just on your headphones the whole time and not interacting with your people around you, then we're gonna say something. But if it's quiet time and someone slips their headphones on, I'm not gonna stop it. Like, if that's what helps them rest when we're all exhausted, that's fine. But if we notice that a student is just staying on their headphones, we're gonna say something. Yeah. Great questions. Anything else I can answer for you guys?
Nick, church has backpacking packs or no?
Yes, sir. We have many backpacking packs.
All right.
Of various sizes. And Julianne Radel has been our gear, I call her our gear czar for more than a decade, and has just like a good eye of like finding the right size pack, because we have everything from like extra small to Truman Wetzel size. So yeah, so we can get it. We can get a nice fit for Sophie for sure.
Well, doesn't Truman carry someone on his back with a pack? So that could.
Yeah, pack. He carries his own pack, and then someone's on his back with a pack on their back. Yeah, yeah.
That guy's a monster. Okay.
No, actually, we did actually buy an extra large, extra long pack for him this year, because last year the pack he was wearing was too small. So yeah, we have lots of packs of various sizes for sure.
All right. I'll circle back with you.
Sounds good.
Split the food up so everyone carries it a little bit in their packs?
Yeah, so each person will get a snack bag with like their personal snacks, because like we're going to have them eat lots of calories. I mean, the like going calorie burn rate of an average adult backpacking at elevation is like astronomical per hour, thousands of calories per hour. And so these kids who already probably are burning a lot of calories just by being growing children need lots. So we actually sit down and we think through calories each day. And so each student, whatever, gets about 500 to 700 extra calories on top of their meals that they carry personally the day. And then we divvy up the meals between like each person. So like, Micah might carry mac and cheese, and Sage might carry, polenta. And I really should just get her a bag of polenta for her. And so everybody kind of shares the weight. They also share the weight of like group gear. So like pots and pans and stoves, water filters, tents, all that stuff. We kind of make sure it's kind of evened out. So that one person's not just carrying everything, for sure. Any other questions we can answer for you guys? Awesome. Well, I'm obviously very excited for this trip. If you guys have questions, I'm sure you'll think of them. Feel free to email me, text me, call me. All of my information is in that email that I sent out earlier today. If something comes up between now and July 21st, 23rd, let's talk. Let's just make sure. My goal is that your student and you as an extension as their parent have like a wonderful trip and come back not being worried about the logistics, not being worried about how good or bad the food was, but like having experienced God in a real and meaningful way. That is my goal. And so whatever I need to do to lower all the other barriers so that can be the main focus, my team and I will make sure we can do. So do not feel afraid to ask any questions. No question is outside of bounds, and we will figure it out together. But I am excited and look forward to seeing what God will do this summer. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and we'll have you guys have a great evening. Okay, May. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.